Okay, so starting today, we'll be learning 2D animation. So 2D animation is usually hand-drawn, but nowadays it's mostly digital. You draw it with on a tablet, a drawing tablet. I mean, of course, the process is the same. It's just one is on paper and the other one is on a tablet. If you want to learn what 2D animation is, first you have to understand the basic of human anatomy, because it's very important to know how to draw a human figure. That's how you can move on to the animation. So it is a requirement that everyone needs to know how to draw a human figure before they start trying to draw and create 2D animation. So in this course, I'll be explaining what 2D animation is and what you would get, what you would earn, what are benefits from learning it. Because if you ever want to create beautiful 2D animations, like you see in those cartoons or shows or movies, they're basically just doing what 2D animation is. They draw with their digital pen on a tablet most of the time. Of course, we'll be only focusing about how to draw a human and its movements, a character's movements. Backgrounds, that's for the background science. I mean, of course, if you want to make complete 2D animation, you would require to draw a background, but that's more advanced. So we only focusing on basic in this course. So the first lesson, which is starting with the second class, that's my plan. We'll be learning about something. We start off with something basic, something easy. So it's quick to do. It wouldn't take you too much time. So as you can see here, I'll be teaching you how to do the basic movement of a ball. I would try to demonstrate how a ball is rolled in a class, and what is like how many pictures you have to draw to indicate the balancing of the ball. And I'll be also teaching you how many frames you are usually going to draw in order to create a fluent animation, a smooth animation. So after I'm finishing with the demonstration, I'll let the students try out to do it themselves. Can be very easy. So it's nothing too fancy. There's no character, there's no clouds, it's just a ball. And you just try to make it looks like it's moving or bouncing. And I'll be giving homework of how a ball rolls and bounces. And then the next class, I will teach you something more advanced, slightly more advanced of the ball, like something you might not, like some concepts you might not think about when you create the ball animation. That is the weight and the speed, because the ball has a different texture, or different is made out of different materials. The weight of them different. Think about an atom versus like a balloon really floating. So the way they move is gonna be like it's also gonna affect the speed of the ball. And I'll be teaching you how a ball, when you apply different materials to them, will affect the speed and weight. And I'll give you homework of how uh, of any choice. If the student wants to choose a heavier ball, or another student wants to do a lighter ball, feel free to do so. And then the fourth class, I'll be teaching how you could give the personality to a character. And in this case, we're using a ball because that's the beginning lesson. And because personality in animation is very important. Imagine if I give the makes think about this. Imagine if you want to make this ball feel happy. The way it moves is gonna be different because you are seeing this ball not just a ball, but an actual living character. So again, I'll be demonstrating how you could apply these personalities to the ball, and I'll let the students to decide what personality they want to put into the ball and work with it. And next time, following the ball, we're done with the ball, but we're gonna start with the head, the human head, because when you're creating an animation, the character often moves a lot because that's the whole point of animation. So make the character move, and when the character move or switch the angle, the head also moves. And I'll tell you how in real life someone's head is smooth and how you could make it more cartoonish while stay like maintaining the consistency and so people when people watch it, watch how a cartoon character's head moving, they don't feel too off because it's not too crazy. You still have to follow some basic rules of how human moves in reality, even though if it's a cartoon character. I'll be explaining that. And again, I will show a demonstration and I will let the student to try to animate how a head is moved as shown in this example. And also, most of the time when you do character animation, it's about you can see the expressions from the face to so you know what the character is feeling, what the characters might be thinking of. So I will ask the students to come up with how many different expressions they can think of, like happiness, sadness, anger. Because usually, if you were to do a cartoon character animation, some of the expressions might be more exaggerated than in reality. And I'll be teaching how the student to do that, like this example over here. And I will try to allow the students to pick um, an expression of their choice and try to do a really simple animation of how a transition to that expression is going to be like. So the next class will be about lips. This makes the animation more smoothly and more realistic. If you wanted to make the character talk or make some random noises, the way their mouth shape is going to be different also. I'll be giving examples of how a dialogue could affect the way your mouth moves in an animation. It's slightly more advanced than the others, but it's actually not that difficult. I could make them understand this easily. And and again, I would try to do a demonstration and they could pick a line from a movie or from a show, a short line. So, and then I will ask them to do a short animation with that line, with a simple character, that is. Also, after we finish the head and the mouth and the expression, we're gonna turn our focus to the full body. So we'll start with humanoid figure, and it is very common to see a character walking in an animation, well, in any animation. I would teach the students some most basic way in order to create a walking cycle and how many frames it's gonna take them to do a full walking animation. And as for the characters, we're not gonna choose some. We're gonna ask students to pick their characters because if the students pick a difficult character, it's gonna take them a lot of time to finish out uh, the animation. So I'll give some really simple character and then ask them do demonstration and then ask them to try to do a walking cycle. We had walking cycle, but we also have a running cycle. As you can see, it's really pretty much the same as walking cycle, except this one's faster. So there's less frames, less pictures you have to draw, but it's still essentially the same thing, except this one's running. So this is where you actually use what I've learned from previous classes and try to do your own animation of your choice. But I do have to give some, because I need to see the consistency in the students' work. So I will give them one general topic, for example, as shown in here. Use what I've taught you do a 5 to 10 seconds animation. Yeah, it has to be full body, a character of your choice with dialogue. Because without dialogue, you're not gonna use everything I taught you, like the lip sync and maybe the expression. So I'll give them this prompt and then ask them to think of whatever they could think of. And if they have any question, they could ask me. But this class is about them deciding what animation they're gonna create and maybe draw some thumbnails and manage the time so they could finish up by the end of by the beginning of the last class. I don't really teach anything. I just answer student question as they're working on their final animation. Work with them, and if they have any questions, just ask me. And I'll say what I think of the animation, pros and cons, and I'll ask the students the same. Like, what do you think of this student's, your classmates' work? If they're interested into learning more advanced 2D animation. And if anyone has any more questions regarding the future and what they want to do in the future if they want to follow this career, they can ask me. If they want to get into the college, ask
Good.
me.
Good. Very good. That's it. Cool.